Welcome back, everybody. Behind me, we've got this beautiful Super Duty that we just finished our favorite lift kit on. Absolutely gorgeous white Super Duty sitting on our 10 to 18 mini cradle long arm 4-link setup. He's set at 10 inches right now. Obviously, we gave him what we call a little baby of a lean. We've got a 10-inch block with like about a 12-inch height in the front. Let's dive right into it. The bread and butter of this kit, obviously what decorates the kit and makes it the best and stand out from all the other 10-inch lift kits, is the mini cradle and the super long 4-link bar. This has everything that we like to redundantly talk about that improves the ride quality and that it keeps this truck as a daily. This guy daily is this truck, drives it every single day, goes out to it in dinner. This is his ride or die truck. 28s and 38s really set it off. Always do the floating caps, obviously. You're gonna see all of the details that this kit offers. You're gonna see billet reservoir clamps for 2.5 coilovers. On this height truck, we go for a single rate spring coilover. For the guys that are doing 12 and up, we do a dual rate spring coilover. You're gonna notice all of the details. You're gonna have our fabricated sway bar, which also features billet clamps, dual shear pitman arm, and all of the other accessories that are included in our front high steer truss system. This is the reason these trucks drive so great. You've got a lot of things going on here. There's a lot of moving parts in the front suspension of these trucks. The front suspension geometry is the most important geometry when lifting these trucks. At the 10-inch height, this has arguably better geometry than a stock height truck. The panhard bar and drag link bar ratio in both length and in angle is actually an improvement over stock. Not to mention that there are no more ball joints or tie rod ends. Everything has been replaced with Heim joints. Everything has been drilled for the high steer section. The pitman arm is, like we mentioned, the dual shear pitman arm. All of this is redundant and ready to be driven day in, day out with the quality and the driving characteristics that we love to brag about. Obviously, the steel bodies have a little bit of different setup when we're doing the coilover conversions and we dress it up. If you have a regular coilover conversion, you're gonna get a regular coilover bracket. If you do our fully decked out mini cradle kit, you're gonna get these replacement buckets. These replacement buckets serve as not only your coilover mount, your remote shock mount, and on the driver's side even serves as an extra gusset for the track bar bracket for that front high steer truss system. You're gonna see how the rest of this kit flows into our beautiful long arm 4-link setup and the mini cradle. The mini cradle on the steel body trucks, so on the previous generation, is a little bit different. The mini cradle is gonna directly bolt onto the outside of the frame. It's arguably a little bit of an easier install. This frame is an open C-channel install, so you're gonna drill a couple holes and put nuts on the backside versus on the Illuma Duties, you have through bolts. This is also ready and set up for an upper 4-link bar if you're gonna convert the rear to 4-link, which is an upgrade that we would definitely offer on this mini cradle kit. The front geometry is already set up for that. The front springs and the front high steer truss system is also set up for that. On this kit, you're gonna notice that you're gonna have the rear traction bars and you're gonna have frame plates and a decorative rear truss. Obviously, we continued out back with the carbon line. We have another set of 2.5 remote reservoir rear shocks to match what's in the front, and this beautiful decorative rear truss. We tie everything together with extended brake lines and we give some sheeting so we can make sure to tuck in all of the things that normally would have dressed up the rear end. Obviously, doing this build locally nets us being able to powder coat little accessories like the rear hitch, and you can just see how beautiful this truck now sits on 28s and 38s with 10-inch blocks and our 12-inch lift in the front. Awesome driving truck, awesome towing truck. You still have OEM towing capabilities with the truck, and just an absolutely beautiful truck for a 10-inch lift. You don't need to have that big of a lift to be able to enjoy the truck and still drive the truck. This is still a grocery getter, still a towing vehicle, you know, and you got all of the bells and whistles that like a small show truck would have.
All right, Manny. So a lot of the guys were commenting in the last video. They want to see you drive these trucks and show them how it drives. Can we hop in for a ride?
Let's go right in, man. All right, so one of the things that we brag about is the drivability on this truck. Obviously, the drivability on the truck is going to net us, number one, soft steering by not putting extra stress on the gearbox and all of those components. Another thing that we net is returning back to center by being able to keep OEM caster settings. When you let go of the wheel wants to go back to its true center position, but it's not excessive caster, which would cause the wheel to fight you back to center. You're going to feel no play, virtually no play. The Heim joints have absolutely zero give on the steering, so you get a nice, tight, responsive steering setup. Obviously, we're in a parking lot right now. Once we hit the road, you're gonna be able to see that we'll do highway speeds, and the truck drives itself. You know, as soon as the alignment is done on the vehicle should retain the same driving characteristics. The vehicle's not gonna pull in any direction. The vehicle's not gonna give you any sense of bump steer. And if we had to mask any of the weird sensations or any of the weird feelings, the dual steering stabilizer, especially with these 2.5s, definitely add that last little bit of dampening to give this the true ride quality and the true driving characteristics that we do love about these lift kits. If we're doing a little bit of a skate in a parking lot and we want to swerve, we can really feel how fast the truck's gonna get us side to side. You know, we have no play. Like I said, the Heim joints have no play where the ball joints and the original tie rods would have. That's something that over time would have also worn a lot faster by having this excessive load with both the 28s and 38s and the new lifted height. You know, also at this height, you're able to clear 28s and 38s at full lock left and right. Something we do not like is for people to have limited steering, especially for the guys that are still going to be able to tow the vehicle. You know, we'll do 30 miles an hour in a little parking lot with ditches and stuff, and we don't need to pay attention to the wheel. When I give it gas, you're not going to hard right one way. You give it brake, you're not going to hard turn the other way. You know, the steering wheel definitely does exactly as it should. It follows the contour of the road, and it just feels like a normal truck should feel. You know, a lot of guys have lifted trucks, and a lot of guys complain about exactly how these trucks drive. They're like, oh, it drives like a lifted truck.
Yo, what are those things?
Realistically, the only lifted truck characteristics should be the fact of having wides and having spacers. Those should be the only things that you're supposed to get used to, you know, the width of the vehicle and the size of the vehicle. But you should not be able to fight your steering wheel, and you should not have to, you know, buckle and deal with all of those things that people normally deem as a lifted truck effect. As you can see, this truck drives and feels and looks very consistently with the truck that we did last week. Guys, remember, we're going to be uploading these videos weekly. Make sure to leave a comment on any questions that you have or on any other future videos you want to see. Last week's commentator got a $100 gift card from anything that's on our website, which lets you get any of these components, if not all of these components, in our kit configurations. If you already have a lifted truck and you want to add coilovers, if you already have a lifted truck and you want to dress it up with either frame plates or sway bar, improve your driving characteristics with our high steer system, or just add the full package and switch right over onto the Papis team, please make sure to check out our website, DM us or message us if you have any questions, or leave a question below in the comments. We love answering the questions from the comments. So just let me know what you guys think. I absolutely love this truck. We absolutely push this kit as much as we can. This is the bread and butter of what a truck should look like and should drive like with our products.